All right, people, I have some good news to share with you now. I don't know where to begin. Remember this guy? This Islamist who's shouting Allahu Akbar like he is a Taliban leader rather than representing one of the most enlightened or progressive political parties in the UK? Yes, this jihadi slash Islamist Motin Ali is the deputy leader of the Greens. And I've always called it the unholy alliance between the Islamists and the progressives. They're not progressives, but, let's just call them progressives for now. We have always wondered when this unholy alliance, who are so diametrically opposed to each other that the only thing that unites them is their hatred for the West. That's it. Nothing else unites them. So they see one common enemy, which is Western civilization, Western values, or people who represent the West. They just hate that. But they both have different agendas. One are communist and the other are Islamists. So the Islamists want to throw homosexuals off rooftops, and the communists, these socialists, progressives, wokes, far lefties, whatever you want to call them, they want to dismantle the West, but they want to replace it with socialism, communism, gender fluidity, drugs, everything. Everything. In fact, the conservatives or the centrists of the West could find a more common ground with Islamists. For example, there should be a family system. There should be some checks and balances on sexes, no gender fluidity, no drugs, But they all have different ideas of how a society should be governed. And because the centrist and our traditional Western values still make up the core of our Western civilization, that's what makes them the enemy of the West, basically. So we often wondered when this alliance is going to fall apart. It fell apart in America once, in Hamtramck or Dearborn, where the wokes voted Muslims in, and the moment a Muslim became a mayor, they took down the LGBTQ flag. So the wokes were like, but we supported you. What went wrong? And then after that, remember Zara Sultana? Now, she's a Muslim, but I think she's more of a communist. So the jury's still out there. I'm not going to pass a judgment. So she started a political party called Your Party with Jeremy Corbyn, and she thought it was a good idea to bring in 4 independent, hardcore Islamist Muslims as founding members. So we wondered again how long this alliance is going to last, because they have nothing in common. They hate each other. There's literally nothing in common. We in the middle can find something in common with the far left wokies, and we can also find something in common with the Islamists. We have more in common with them, but we hate them because obviously they are all wackies in their own right. But they don't share anything with each other other than a common goal of overthrowing Western civilization. That's it. So that alliance fell apart too, and Zara Sultana accused Your Party of being overrun by, let me quote, sexist boys club. And then the party fell apart. It's nowhere in the polls now. But then the Greens emerged. People who got disillusioned by the Your Party fiasco, they joined the Greens. And the Greens started surging in the polls. So much so that, according to some polls, they became the second most popular political party in the UK. Dare I add, just behind Reform, but well ahead of Labour in some polls. So that got me worried. That got a lot of people worried. And then we're like, oh, maybe we can't, Zach Polensky, the gay Jewish leader of the Greens, getting in bed with this radical, rabid Islamist. What's going on? Surely it cannot go on for long. So we've been waiting that something's going to happen. I hope sooner rather than later. Some people were saying that no, the Islamist, Motin Ali, is going to play this better than other silly Islamists who played their hand way too soon and, they destroyed their chances of ever coming to power, like the Your Party fiasco. Just last month, they were doing this. And I made a video about this. Look at this gay strippers dancing with Zach Polensky and that blonde Barbie. There's Zach and Hannah showing us how it's done. And where are the Muslims? Where's Motin Ali? Of course he's not going to be there. As I said, these guys have got nothing in common. So how long can such an alliance last? Obviously, it can't last for long. And Zach Polanski is gay and he's a Jew. And he's very anti-Israel. So that's another common ground that they found with the Islamists, because I hate Jewish people. They want to wipe Israel off the map. So that also united them for a bit. But then, in the last 24 hours, something else happened. Have a look at this. Greens deputy leader urges Greens members to sue their own party over suspension of local election candidates. So as you guys know, the local council elections are coming up on the 7th of May, so less than a week away. So the Greens party suspended a couple of candidates for some reasons, okay? At this point, we didn't know what was going on. So as you can see, this came out only 16 hours ago. Motin Ali is reported to have told a meeting of the Greens for Palestine. So they have a separate group within the Greens party, which is called Greens for Palestine group. They needed to get some serious legal advice and start with some class action. Ooh, treason! And of course, you think Motin Ali cares about woke lefty policies of the Greens? These people don't care about that. Who would have thought that? They're only there to further their Islamist agenda. So what happened? Why did the Greens party sack its own candidates over anti-Semitism? Because Zach Polanski himself hates the Jews and he hates his own community. He hates Israel. So what's going on? This is the BBC reporting. 2 Greens party candidates have been arrested over alleged anti-Semitic online posts. So that came out 2 hours ago. So first we heard the news that Motin Ali is upset over the suspension of some Greens candidates over anti-Semitic remarks. We didn't know what they were. It must have been very extreme that the police actually moved on so quickly and they even arrested them. So they didn't just stop at their suspension. They actually moved on to arrest them. And obviously the police and the government are not doing that out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing that because they are under a lot of pressure because of that Somali terrorist who stabbed random Jewish people. And Keir Starmer went to Golders Green and he was booed out of there. Booed out of there. I think he's the most hated prime minister in the history of the UK. So you must be wondering, what could they have said? The BBC didn't report what could be so anti-Semitic that suspension alone was not enough. Have a look at this. Ready? 2 Green Party candidates have been arrested on suspicion of stirring up racial hatred for allegedly posting anti-Semitic comments. One of them posted a placard that read, "Ramming a synagogue isn't anti-Semitism, it's revenge." Wow. You might say that, look, I've read worse in these pro-Pali demonstrations and protests that have been going on for years. People have defended Hamas raping Jews and the Israeli women on October 7th. People have said that's fine, it's allowed, it's justified, it's resistance. People have said that at university campuses in America. So we've actually seen much worse than that. But what's changed? That, first of all, even Zach Polanski felt the need to suspend those candidates. And then that risking his alliance with Motin Ali, because they're counting on the Muslim vote. They really are. Obviously, these gay strippers' stage performance didn't help. and Motin Ali came under fire by a lot of other British Muslims. But, who knows? Sometimes hate is what these people thrive on, and their hatred for the West, their hatred for the Jewish community is strong enough that can unite them. But history tells us that you cannot build anything on hatred. You just can't. Sooner or later, you have to move on from your hate, and you have to add something that is objectively positive, that builds something, that constructs something, that advances you as a group, as a human race. But these people don't have anything. And this is why I support Israel. Israel builds, Israel constructs, Israel innovates. What do these people do? What do they do? The only invention they have had in the last 100 years or so is the invention of suicide bombers and terrorism. That's it. So this is fresh news. I don't know how far this is going to go, but this is definitely good news. We've been waiting for it. I thought that it would happen much later because I thought Motin Ali would be cleverer than this, but they can't help themselves, guys. They really can't. This is why I've been calling it an unholy alliance, because at some point, the wokes are going to be slapped by these Islamists, and because they don't have anything in common, that's why they can never stand on anything. But keep an eye on this. This is getting interesting.